Also on Sky Sports 1 and Live Rugby Union, Saracens Bath and Northampton Wasps at 12:30 on Sky Sports 2.
This is Sky Sports.
Should get the green flag the next time by. Although right now it's a bit of a ragged start. I don't think they're going to go green this time.
Well, we'll see. Everybody just
game of one-upmanship in the front row. A little head game going on there.
They're just trying to make sure everything's set. They're gassing it, putting on the brakes, making sure that everything's to their liking before they come around there. They want to make sure that when they hit the throttle that thing's going to take off coming off of turn number 4.
And it's going to hold.
And it's going to hold. That's right.
We'll expect the pace car off the track. We should go green this time. 200 laps, a 2.4 kilometer racetrack, and here they come. Boy, Johnny just did get that pace car off the track.
They were close. They didn't give that pace car much room. You are right. And look at Kanan already making his bid for the inside. Didn't quite make it. I thought because he had that inside track, he might be able to actually get around him, but he didn't make it past Weldon as Weldon hung on the outside through turns 1 and 2.
Already the crowd favorite is in the wall and a yellow on the first lap.
Oh, man, what a tough break from Matsuura. I mean, this is his home track. He has kind of been the rock star all weekend long. All the crowd cheering, jumping up and down, yelling when he took to the racetrack. And to have something happen that's John Barnes, the car owner right there, shaking his head. But what a tough break for the hometown hero.
Yellow flag on the very first lap.
Well,
last season we had the fewest yellow flag periods for only 3. Most we had 9 yellow flag periods back in 2003 for 64 laps.
It was a pretty fast start. I mean, Castroneves brought them around pretty fast. The guys on the inside had a pretty good run on the guys on the outside.
Had a pretty good run up the tailpipe of the pace car, too.
Yeah, that's right. And, everybody that was on the inside seemed to have a little bit of an advantage. Maybe we'll have a look and see if we can see what happened to Matsuura. But I wouldn't be surprised back there where he was starting. He might have had some a little contact with somebody.
Well, Patrick had a terrible start. She started outside the front row and went back to 6th position, so she lost a couple of positions on that start.
Yeah, she was on that outside, and her and Weldon both went backwards a little bit through turns 1 and 2. Obviously, Hornish got around her going into turn 1, and obviously Dixon got around her going through turn 1 somewhere.
Well, we saw Kanan get a good start, which we've come to expect from Tony Kanan, certainly from last season. As you see, Matsuura walks away, obviously disappointed, as are several thousand fans here.
Yeah,
he looks back like he'd like to say something to somebody.
I think he's more than I think he's upset. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but you can tell he's talking to somebody in that vehicle and telling him what he was thinking, which wasn't very good, I don't think. Because
I think he was waiting for the pack to come by so he could acknowledge who it was that may have put him out of the race.
Yeah, there's the
doctor car.
Doctor's car. Let's see if we can.
Well, let's see. He's by himself right here. There's nobody there. He loses it by himself.
Yeah, sure did. Just all by himself down on the bottom of the racetrack and spun. That could, who knows, could be anything. But that's one of the reasons we were talking about those guys on the start, gassing up the throttle. Well, here we're going to go on board. Just drops down to the middle of the racetrack, and it just got loose on him. It just turned around on him. Could have been.
He can't point a finger at somebody that time because he just came around.
Could have been cold tires. Could have been, debris, marbles on the tires. A lot of these guys, you'll see them scrubbing around, turning the car back and forth, and you can see that. And that's why they want to get all those marbles off of the tires before they get into the corner, because that's what it'll do to you.
Well, on this yellow. There's Castro-Neves on the restart. Weldon second, then Kanaan, Sam Hornish, and Scott Dixon running out the top 5.
Usually, a lot of times the pace car will pull off on some other part of the racetrack, but here they pull in coming off of turn 4. Now then he's slowed up, and you can see everybody else.
I was going by him.
Yeah, he slowed way up, and everybody. Sometimes, and now then he takes way off. Well, this is very strange.
See, this can cause a crash on a restart.
Yeah, this is.
They should get one more lap before they go green, which will bunch them all up. But shenanigans like that can cause a crash on a restart.
Yeah, when you slow down that much and guys aren't expecting it, you can get bumped from the back end very easily. So.
Well, and Johnny looks in the rearview mirror, and all he sees is Castro-Neves. He said, "I'm getting off the racetrack here."
And see, now he is getting off. He's going to get off going into turn 1 and park down in there. So only on the original start is he going to pull off like he did the first time. Boy, Castro-Neves is doing some strange things out there in the lead. He's gassing it and slowing up and kind of confusing everybody behind him, I think. They've got a place marked down there between turns 3 and 4. He's not supposed to gas it up until he gets to that point, but he's been gassing it up and then slowing down, and he took off pretty early again. That's before the mark on the racetrack. That was back in turn 3.
Well, so let's see if we get more of a lap in here. More than one lap racing.
And Danica did not get a good start again. Looked like she might get passed again going into turn 1. So she did not get a good start on that restart either. Wow, look at those guys going right to the bottom of the racetrack. Kanaan goes way to the outside. Turns 3 and 4, that's not a place you want to get stuck on the outside. We've seen a lot of crashes here, and a lot of them were caused because somebody got caught on the outside going through turns 3 and 4. Very difficult to run all the way through turns 3 and 4 on the outside.
You see those skid plates are kicking up the sparks. They have basically a full load of fuel this year. The fuel cell cut to 22 gallons. But look at the different lines and grooves they're using down the straightaway. These guys are all over the racetrack, Larry.
Yeah, look, it looks like some of them are trying to go out wide to keep up the RPMs, but it doesn't seem to be making a lot of difference. It used to be that when you kept the RPMs up by going wide coming off of the corner, it really helped. But they've got these cars so figured out and so stuck to the ground that you can keep them low coming right off the corner. Danica Patrick loses another spot.
She's back to 9th.
To Franchitti.
That Franchitti, that was her team. That was Andretti.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Andretti. You're right.
Yeah, Franchitti's up in 6th position. That was the battle for 8th. So she is steadily going toward the back of the pack. After great practice times and a good qualifying effort yesterday.
Well, right now, Andretti is the guy that's going forward, and his teammate, Danica Patrick, seems to be going backwards. She did not get a good original start. She lost 2 positions on the original start. She lost another position on the restart to Franchitti, and then now she's lost a couple more. Scheckter got around her, and then Marco.
Castro-Neves starts to open up a bit of a gap over Weldon.
And look at Kanaan. He's to the outside.
To the outside of his former teammates, and they almost get together down the backstretch.
Well, see, Kanaan's on the outside. He cannot be out there going through 3 and 4.
You don't go too wide here like you do in Texas.
No, he's got to make that pass. He's got to complete that pass coming off of 2 and going down the back straightaway, because if he gets to 3 and 4 and he's on the outside, he's got to give way.
There's Franchitti on the inside of Hornish. That is for position. That's for the 5th spot.
Franchitti looks pretty strong.
Showing some muscle early.
A couple of years ago, and he's got the inside position. See, Hornish had no choice. He had to get out of the throttle, get to the bottom of the racetrack, and let him go. If you let that guy get to the inside of you, going down the back straightaway, you're toast. You're gonna have to get out of the throttle and let him go. We've seen a couple of different times guys try to run that outside groove, and I think Scheckter was one of them a couple of years ago when he was running really, really well, and he tried to run through 3 and 4 on the outside, and he ended up in the wall.
Castro-Neves for Team Penske continues to lead. Then Weldon for Team Ganassi is 2nd. Then you've got Kanaan for Andretti Green. Dixon is now 4th for Team Ganassi. Franchitti, Andretti Green is 5th. 6th is Hornish. And the first driver not among those 3 teams is Scheckter. And Schechter now is back in 7th position. Patrick is 8th, having gotten back around Andretti.
And look at this.
Good battle from teammates for 8th position. That's Danica on the left side of the screen, Marco on the right. Now, Larry, can race drivers have a track that seems to suit them better than others? I mean, Danica has gone very well here in the past.
Yeah, and that's what we talked to her for just a second before the race, and that's what she said. This racetrack seems to suit her style, even though it's a downshift into turns 3 and 4, and it's not a flat-out racetrack. It seems to suit her style. She thinks the reason is because she gets through 3 and 4 better than a lot of the other guys, and that is the key to this racetrack, getting through turns 3 and 4.
As Castroneves continues to open up that gap over Weldon, so here we go again.
Yeah, he's very quick, and it just doesn't appear that anybody's got anything for him at this point. So Dan Weldon, I'm sure as the race goes on and as they make their pit stops, they'll be adjusting, trying to get things worked out. And sometimes that they can make those adjustments. They'll be doing the wings and all that stuff, but it's very difficult once the race starts. Seems like somebody's got a great setup. They just keep that thing. Oh, who was that? It looked like that might have been Mira. They almost lost it up there in that corner.
Right now, the lead is almost 3 full seconds by Castroneves over Weldon. Kanaan is 3rd, Dixon 4th, Franchitti is 5th. And then it's Sam Hornish is in the 6th position. Then Schechter, Andretti, Patrick, and Scott Sharp rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Marco all of a sudden seems to be kind of caught on to what's going on here. Seems like he's found a groove in the racetrack that he likes really well. He's to the inside of Schechter now. Schechter's going to have to let him go. Schechter made that mistake a couple of years ago, ended up in the wall. He's not going to do that again. He's not going to run that outside groove down in 3 and 4.
We know Marco is committed for the full season with Andretti Green, and we talked to his granddad Mario a few weeks ago. We know he's going to go to Formula One. Do you think it's going to be next season, Larry, or will they keep him for a couple more seasons?
He won't go now. I don't think he'll go next year. He'll be around here a couple more years. The time, that's what they want him to do. The timetables there are not really set, but that's what they'd like to see him do sometime, but I don't think it'll be next year.
Right now, he's one of the fastest drivers on the racetrack, now up in 7th position.
And here's Mira. After he almost spun down there, he headed right straight to the pits. He might have had a tire going down because he was really slow before he almost lost it. So he had something going wrong. He thought it was a tire going down because he had been passed by 2 cars, and then all of a sudden you could see him do that big wiggle and almost spin. So he headed right to the pits and got 4 new tires. Hopefully that's his problem.
A long weekend for that team so far.
Yeah, and you can't afford to crash a lot of cars when you've got this many races in a row, and they did fix the car, so they could have run it.
But the teammate crashed today too, so they've had a couple of crash cars this weekend.
Yeah, there you can see the shift as Weldon goes through the corner here.
There's Mira.
That was actually Dixon, sorry. And as he went through there, you can see him downshift a couple times. Boy, Franchitti's on the move.
Franchitti to the inside of Dixon.
Yeah, he's really been.
Here comes Hornish.
He's really been strong.
We've seen some good racing back in the pack, just not at the front of the pack.
Yeah, but Franchitti, he's run the fastest lap here the last couple laps, so that's pretty good.
Well, Weldon has cut in by about a second on that lead. And look at Andretti now begin to close in on Hornish for the 6th position.
Yeah, once he got around Danica Patrick, she got around him back around him there for a couple laps. But ever since he got around her that last time, as we were just talking just a second ago, he seems to have found a place on the racetrack that he really likes, and it seems to suit him. He seems to have moved up going through turns 1 and 2, and it's helped him.
Well, there you see Dixon, Hornish, and Andretti, which will be 5th, 6th, and 7th on the racetrack. Now, Larry, we talked about that pit window being around lap 50 with that early 9-lap yellow. We might see pit stops for the leaders from like maybe lap 55.
Well, they might. We're just going to have to wait and see what kind of, what kind of mileage you get. And Mira's just having all kinds of trouble. He's still not very fast in the racetrack. As we take a look at him, he's just.
He's 3 laps off the pace right now.
he was a lap down and he made the pit stop and lost a couple laps, but he's just not running very fast at all out there on the racetrack.
Castro Neves enjoying a 2.7 second lead over Weldon, and Weldon has about a 2 second lead over Tony Kanaan, and Kanaan's like 3 seconds up over Franchitti. So we've seen some good up. Another yellow, the second yellow of the afternoon.
We will see a lot of pit stops. Everybody will come in on this pit stop, or on this yellow flag. Everybody will make their pit stop on this yellow.
Good crowd on hand here this afternoon, Larry.
Yeah, there is a good crowd. You know, they really support this racing. They've been waving their flags and jumping up and down all afternoon as we see everybody heading for.
Well, like we said, we had fans up here 3 hours before the race ever began.
This is going to be important. They're not going to take a lot of fuel, so the guys on the tires, it's going to be important for them to get the tires on very quickly. As we said before, because of the changes in the size of the fuel tank, the tire guys become a lot more important today. Yeah, you can see right there, as soon as the tires were on, they were gone.
No adjustments.
Oh,
that's close corners down
Weldon,
there.
yeah, Weldon almost got into the crew in front of him, his teammates' crew, as he got on the gas and slid that thing, but made it out. Look at Marco, he gained a couple of spots.
Hornish may have gained a couple of spots too. Yes. How many times have we seen Team Penske win for those guys in the pit area?
Yeah. So,
Hornish up to, fourth out of the pits.
Yeah, but Marco, I think he was back in about 7th place, so he gained a lot of spots.
So under our second yellow of the afternoon, Castro Neves should retain the lead. Let's see if that red 10 can stay with him as Kanaan gets a challenge right there by Sam Hornish on the inside going to turn 1.
Yep.
Hornish picks up a position, so it's Penske 1 and 3 making a sandwich on the number 10 of the Ganassi. Oh, boy, I thought we had a spin right there. Those guys cut down so sharp coming out of that corner, I thought they were out of control. And you did too.
I did too. I thought exactly what we saw, though, was when he cut down to the bottom, the car looked just like it. Sam Hornish back in 3rd. He went wide, and it just appeared that maybe he had lost the car. Just a
quick optical illusion.
Yeah, big optical illusion.
Well, let's see if he can stay with him now on this after this restart as Hornish goes up to 3rd position. Andretti is all the way up to 4th. Look at that. Marco is up to 4th.
Yeah, well, he gained all those spots. Well, Kanaan lost. He got around Kanaan, and that's because Kanaan lost that spot. Once Hornish got under him, he was wide, and
momentum.
Marco just followed him through.
Now, after this restart, it doesn't look like Castro Neves can pull away from Weldon like he did that first time.
He's hanging right very close anyway. And Weldon, Castro Neves is doing the right thing. He's staying low down the back straightaway. You can't get around Castro Neves by going to the outside down the back straightaway. Just not going to happen going through turns 3 and 4. So Castro Neves stays down to the bottom of the racetrack, challenging anybody who wants to go around him to go to the outside, and it's very difficult to do.
Castro Neves, Weldon, Hornish, then Andretti. Kanaan is 5th. Dixon is 6th. Patrick is 7th. 8th is Franchitti. 9th is Schechter. 10th is Sharp.
What Weldon's trying to do, and he might have it done here, he's trying to go into turns 3 and 4 wide so that he can come off and have more straightaway speed going into turn 1. He's to the inside. He's going to take the lead. He did a really smart thing there, and he's done it for the last 2 or 3 laps. You know, if you go wide going into turns 3 and 4 and get more of an arc, you can sometimes get a little more horsepower, a little more speed coming off of turn 4. That's exactly how he made that pass that time.
He becomes the second leader here this afternoon as Castro Neves led from the start through the lap 43. And Weldon takes the lead on lap 44.
Well, once we'll see now that Castro Neves is in 2nd place, how fast he really is. Can he keep up with Weldon? Because Weldon right now appears like he made a slight adjustment on that pit stop, and now he's the fastest car on the racetrack.
Well, Weldon, a 2-time winner. He won in 2004 and 5. Scott Sharp back in 2003. And Elio was the victor here a year ago.
Yeah, Kanaan looks again to be the fastest guy on the racetrack as he's caught up with Hornish. Going to try to get to the inside going into turn 1.
That's Castroneves.
Castroneves, sorry. Going into turn 1 as Castroneves
drops to 3rd position.
Maybe he should have made an
adjustment to the wing.
Yeah, everybody else made adjustments and he didn't. Now then they're running faster than he is.
You're looking for another yellow to come in and make some adjustments. And Kanaan starts to pull away from him. So let's see if Kanaan now can get on the pony and chase down his former teammate.
Well, there's still a long way to go. We're only a quarter of the way through this race, so still a long way to go for these guys. But believe me, they're thinking every lap what they can do on the next pit stop to make their race cars faster and try to catch the guy in front of them.
It's interesting how things have changed, though, from a 4-second lead for Castroneves. We have the yellow. The other guys make the adjustments. They made no adjustments, and now he falls back. Right now he's over 2 seconds behind your leader, Weldon.
Yeah, Kanaan and Weldon, they're running close to the same speed almost every lap right now.
So 50 of 200 laps now complete. Weldon continues to lead. There's a look at Patrick and Schechter. Schechter has just gotten around Patrick, so that's a swap of positions. So Schechter now is in 8th position. Patrick is 9th, and it's just been a long, long weekend for this race team.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with them, but they're certainly having problems.
Scott Sharp looks to the inside of Patrick.
Yeah, Danica obviously not her best racetrack today. She's having a few problems and she's hanging around back there at 8th, 9th, 10th, but still not having a great day.
There's Rice right behind Sharp. Sharp was in a position to get by, but then Patrick began to pull away, and no big hurry here on this particular team.
No, he's getting out. Whatever.
Now he's climbing out, so the day is over for Vitor Mira. It's been a tough weekend for that race team. Both drivers have had crashes, one in practice and one in the race here today, as Weldon continues to open up that lead over Tony Kanaan. Quick glance there at Michael Andretti looking over his team members. He has one now in 2nd position. His son is back in 4th. He has a driver in 6th position with Franchitti. And Patrick now is in 9th. And, of course, he will be racing in Indianapolis again this year. And we just heard this past week that Buddy Lazier, who won in 1996, has a ride. And I feel like we'll see Al Unser Jr. at the Speedway as well.
Yeah, and look at this. Hornish comes back. Marco got a little wide down there in turns 3 and 4. And, gave Hornish the opportunity to get down to the bottom just after he passed him the lap before. And you just can't give Sam Hornish an opportunity like that. You've got to keep to the bottom of the racetrack and keep him back there.
Here's a look at Vitor Mira getting out of his car.
Yeah,
a couple laps ago.
He's had all kinds of trouble. Again, he was out there running. He was like a full second off the pace. They just decided that there must be something broken on that car. Can't be handling that bad and without having something broken. They decided just to park it rather than crash it, which is probably a good move.
You realize the last 2 years, Larry, the driver that won at St. Pete won at Motegi. Last year was Castroneves, and 2 years ago Weldon won at St. Pete and won Motegi. So
it's always a good thing to have that momentum going in Indianapolis. Winning last year would have been the last 2 races. And look at this, here comes Franchitti.
Around Marco. So Franchitti moves to 5th. Marco drops to 6th. So 3 of the 4 Andretti Green teammates are riding in the top 6 positions. They have 3 of the top 6.
And Franchitti seems to have a car that works better after they've got about 10 or 15 laps on
the tires.
On the tires. He doesn't run very quick. He wasn't very quick right after the pit stop. He was just kind of one of the boys. But after he gets about 15 or 20 laps on those tires, all of a sudden he takes off. He was the fastest car on the racetrack. So it right before that last pit stop, and then he came back out and was just another one of the guys.
Castroneves has radioed his crew, Tim Cindric, on the headset that he has a vibration in the rear of the car.
Well, and that's probably the reason he's not running as fast. They could have put on a tire that for some reason wasn't balanced properly. Who knows? I mean, that would be my first thought, because there was nothing wrong with it until he made that pit stop.
So now 63 of the 200 laps complete. And it's still Weldon enjoying a second lead over Kanaan. Kasranevich hanging on to third, but he's 3.8 seconds back of your leader. Hornish, his teammate, is in fourth. Fifth is Franchitti. Sixth is Andretti. And here comes Franchitti on the inside of Hornish for position, and he just scoots right on by.
Yeah, Franchitti, Hornish saw him coming. He just got out of the throttle. He wasn't going to try to challenge him. He might have, that was a situation where he could have maybe driven it down into the
10 laps to go, he had a challenge for that position.
Right.
Not with this many laps to go, not with 136 laps to go.
Now, you see him move down to the bottom. You just let him go and pick a better day.
Now you see the downshift. Riding on board with Weldon. Now watch the upshift up the straightaway. There's one. They've only downshifted once.
Well, if you've got a car set up really, really well, you can probably get by with it. A lot of the guys are downshifting twice down there going into turns 3 and 4. Danica Patrick has been running pretty good the last few laps too. She's kind of caught up with Schechter and Scott Dixon, so she's kind of picked up the pace, and maybe like Franchitti, she likes the race car, or the race car gets better as the race goes on, and they're all catching Marco as Marco's kind of falling off the pace just a little bit.
Explain those dynamics, Larry, if you can, where a car is actually better when the tires are about 10, 12 laps into the run.
I'm not sure I can explain why it is, but I just know that some cars, if you're a little bit loose or a little bit of understeer, a little bit of oversteer, and as the tires get hotter, that seems to go away. As the tires get a little slicker, get a little hotter, sometimes it's just easier. And here we see Franchitti. He
finally got around him.
Yeah, he caught Kasranevich, and once he caught him, made pretty quick work of him. Just went under him and went on around.
So Team Ganassi continues to lead this thing, but Andretti Green now riding in second and third positions. Andretti's other car, meaning Marco, is back in sixth, and Patrick is ninth. So 4 of the top 9 are Andretti Green.
And again, Kasranevich, I don't think he's panicking. He's not happy with the car. He's not real happy to be running back there in 4th spot, but he knows that there's a long way to go, and all he's got to do is get that vibration out, get that thing feeling good again, and move back towards the front.
Well, if he only loses one position with this vibration before the pit stop, he's in good shape.
Yeah. And there again is Michael Andretti very closely watching the monitor, and his car's on the racetrack.
He doesn't look too pleased.
No, he's looking at Marco, and Marco is not running nearly as quick as he was earlier. And he's fallen back. He hasn't really fallen any positions. He's still in 6th, but he's fallen a long way behind the leaders right now. So earlier he was kind of catching and running right with the leaders. Now that he's 13 seconds.
And Larry, as a racer and the father of a racer, it's a lot easier with the frustration being the racer than to be the father and watch your son out there having difficulty. But he was at the tail end of the lead lap anyway. He dropped back to 11th position after a little miscue in the pit lane. Didn't take him long to get back to the front though at Miami.
No, he certainly didn't. He was so dominant there. I mean, he fell back to 11th. He was back in the lead after 9 laps. I mean, he was passing 2 cars a lap.
Oh, the left rear just came off of Ed Carpenter's car.
Yeah, they sent him out. They didn't have the left rear on good, and he's going to go out and make a complete lap and come back in.
That'll finish him off because that'll tear up the suspension.
Well, he very well could. But, if he's real lucky, he might make it around. And here comes Kasranevich. He's had enough of that tire bouncing around back there. He's going to come in and get it fixed.
Well, so he was falling off the pace.
Yep.
He comes in. Let's watch if there's any adjustments at the front or just a new set of tires. No adjustments to the wing, so maybe it was just the tire.
It was just that tire bouncing that was causing him all the trouble.
Now he makes his stop. You saw that the Ganassi team was getting ready for a pit stop. Here comes Franchitti. So the second pit stop's under green here this afternoon. Franchitti in the pits for a green flag pit stop, and here comes Hornish. So we're going to see a host of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, these pit stops are all coming after about 48, 47, 48, 49 laps. So that is just about the extent of green flag laps that they can run, about 47, 48 laps. Weldon came in there pretty quick. I thought he was going to blow through there, but he got the thing stopped right on his marks.
Not our third leader of the day. He will peel off, and
we'll see how things go. Weldon, you know, had the reputation of getting better fuel mileage than just about anybody else when he ran for the Andretti Green team. He came in pretty much on time that time.
But also, Weldon got the reputation last year of having trouble with pit lane.
Yeah. Now then we've got Carpenter back in, getting that left rear put back on this time, and this time it doesn't fall off when he leaves the pits. So as he left the pits a little earlier.
So how long has the left tire changer worked for that team, not counting tomorrow?
All right. Look at this.
There it comes.
There we can see.
Here's what happened when he made that pit stop and the left rear came off. That's what we were talking about. And how embarrassing. How embarrassing if it's your tire.
Yeah, the crewman up there reached out and stopped that tire before it got back onto the racetrack. And here comes Kanaan. He's made his pit stop and got back on the racetrack. Let's see how he comes out. We'll be able to tell once he gets up to speed. Oh man, he's going to lose some ground. Weldon's pit stop was very quick because he wasn't even out on the racetrack yet. So Dan Weldon's crew did a much better green flag pit stop than did Tony Kanaan's.
We're letting everything cycle through the scoring pylon. Oh, looked like from that camera angle, he's getting real close to the wall.
Got a little loose there coming off the floor, it looked like. So
Weldon back in front for the second time this afternoon on lap 87. Well, of course, he was happy with his victory at Homestead, but if you talk to Dan Weldon, he has one goal for this season. And that first goal is to win Indianapolis. They get that one, another Indy win. He felt like Indy slipped away last year. He could have repeated, but that's his primary goal, and after that, they'll go for the championship.
Well, he's always wanted to do that. I mean, Indy has always been the most important thing to him in this Indy Racing League Series, Indy Racing Series. He loves Indianapolis. Coming from England, you know, it's a little bit odd to think that would be such an important thing to him, but it certainly is. But you could see that
Franchitti.
Yeah, Castroneves came off the corner, almost got on the wall. He got so wide coming off that corner, he had to get out of the throttle, and you could see Franchitti went around him and went on 6 car lengths in front of him. So he got looked like he got loose coming off of 4 and almost got into the wall.
Well, back up to speed now with your leader. Like I said, the traffic has not been the issue that we thought it would be compared to what it was last year or 2 years ago. Well, you see their running positions now as we join you with our live coverage from Twin Ring Motegi, where they started, where they're running right now. Dan Weldon has led on 2 occasions, between laps 44 and 88, and then through the pit stops regained the lead.
And here comes Weldon down to the inside of Scott Sharp, going into turn 4. Sharp's going to let him go. But Franchitti, when Hornish got all that big oversteer and almost got in the fence coming off of turn 4, had to get out of the throttle and gave Franchitti back that position.
Still radio problems for Dan Weldon.
Well, that's
right now, as long as he's running like this, he's okay. But these guys rely so heavily. I mean, back in the day when you had the pit board, you really had no communications from the race car to the pit lane except for hand gestures.
The real problem is on the pit stop, he can't tell them what he wants done to the race car. If he can't use the radio, if he can't talk to them to tell them what he needs done, that could be the big problem of the day for him, because you know, you always need slight changes, it seems like, on every pit stop.
There's the motion again. He takes his left hand off the steering wheel and taps his helmet. But back in the old days, you tapped the top of your helmet a few times. That meant you went relief, right? You went a relief driver, but that's not what he's gesturing.
No, and I'm sure they're trying to work on it in there to figure out what's going on, and they're trying some different things to see if they can figure it out. But if it's his receiver or his transmitter in the car, then they're just pretty much stuck.
And
yep, there you go.
There it is, right there again. And right back to the top of your screen, Marco makes a quick adjustment and goes to the outside, but can he make the pass? No.
Nope.
And right behind him comes your leader. So as they battle for the 8th position, your leader is coming up to put them a lap down.
And Marco, let's see.
May have her down to 3. Nope.
Boy, she stayed on the outside. She gave that to him. She's in trouble.
Hang on.
She saved it. I'll tell you, we've seen that happen about a dozen times. Not a dozen.
Yeah, and look at Kanan.
Yeah, we've seen it happen 3 or 4 times, and every time they've gotten into the fence there. She did a terrific job not to drive that thing in the fence, and that's exactly why you don't want to be on the outside. You get in those marbles, the car takes off, and you can't get a turn and you can't get a stop. She luckily got that thing slowed down.
Watch again.
See, Marco's on the brakes. You can see him wiggling. He's going to give her room. He's hard on the brakes. He saw she was out there. She got out there in those marbles and somehow got that thing turned before it got into the
Tell you
wall.
what, Larry, that was a piece of driving.
Yeah, it was. She did a good job there. She lost a lot of ground. She lost a lot of spots, but she didn't hit the fence, which is a miracle.
Look at this to the inside for the lead. And he has him. Kanan back around Weldon.
Well, we haven't seen that very many times in the last couple of years when Dan Weldon's been out front, but Tony Kanan caught him in lap traffic. Again, lap traffic so important, but he caught him in lap traffic. Weldon had to get out of the throttle.
And look at the gap between those two.
Yeah, he got out of the throttle going through 3 and 4, or going into 3 and 4, and when he did, it just made a huge difference. Kanan just blew him by. That was
just going to be at least one more pit stop.
Probably. I don't think they can stretch. I think they're going to have to make 2. I don't think they can make it on just 1, because they stopped on lap 85, and unless there's some unusual circumstances with the yellows, I don't think they'll be able to make it on just 1 more pit stop.
The lead went from 1 second for Weldon to now 1 second for Kanan. All because of traffic, and we saw Kanan closing in. There's the gap. Right there's your leader. There's second position, and right behind him.
Yeah, Danica Patrick
stays with him.
She's not running that much slower than the leaders. It must be the traffic where these guys are making their big moves and gaining a lot of their time, because the times when you watch them on the racetrack and they're running an open racetrack, she's not running that much slower than
she's a lap behind, a lap off the pace, but she's riding right with Weldon.
And Weldon has actually slowed down slightly since he got past. He's not quite as quick as he was before.
He's 1.7 seconds behind now, Larry.
Yeah, he once he got back in second place, he just hasn't been quite as quick, but Kanan truthfully has been the fastest race car on the racetrack for the last 20 laps, 25 laps.
Now here is the pass.
See, he got slowed down going off into turn number 2, and then once Kanan got to the inside of him going into turn 3, you can see he did a little wiggle right there too.
We've only had 3 leaders so far today. Casper Nevitz led the first 43 circuits, and Dan Weldon took over from lap 44 through 83. And Kanan led from 84 to 87.
But here comes Schechter. This is the first one coming in.
Schechter is a lap off the pace, back in 10th position. That's the Vision team. The teammates his teammates are Ed Carpenter and A.J. Foyt IV, and another pit stop coming up. Or is this?
Heading into the pits.
Yeah, he's coming to the pits.
So the green flag pit stops have started. And everybody, this is Dixon coming in right here.
So Kanan continues to expand his lead. That's Weldon.
Oh, it is Weldon.
That's Weldon.
Boy, it looks like they're just crawling coming down that pit lane.
Well, they are compared to race speed.
So
Good clean pit stop for Dan Weldon and Team Ganassi as Kanaan continues to lead this thing. The green flag pit stops are underway. Weldon made his.
Back on the racetrack, he had a good clean pit stop, looked very quick again. We didn't have a clock on him, but looked to be very, very quick. So, you know, he's back up to speed now, so Weldon made a very, very good pit stop. Kanaan's going to be in pretty quick. Here comes Andretti now. Let's see if he can get in and out in a good, timely manner.
The Ganassi team was actually thinking about black flagging or having Weldon black flag to bring him in for the pit stop, but he came in on his own. Obviously, there was a pit board, the old-fashioned communication system, and he came in on schedule.
Yeah, without the communications, they couldn't tell him what lap to pit on, and he probably, paying attention, saw them lay out. I mean, when you're going down the straightaway, you're paying so much attention to what you're doing, you're not looking around. Here comes Kanaan in for his pit stop, but he probably saw him lay the tires out and headed in without having to get any signal from him. This will be a very important pit stop for Tony Kanaan. If he gets in and back out in front of these guys, Danica Patrick also coming in. I think they're the last two to make their pit stops on this sequence.
So that should put Weldon. Well, let's see. Weldon's far enough back that Kanaan.
Well,
let's see just how good this pit stop is. It's going to be close.
Right front had a little problem there, but they still got done before the fuel. So he's going to get out in front of Weldon. The question is Weldon going to be around? You can see Weldon back there coming off of turn number 4. It's going to take him clear down the back straightaway to get up to speed. And we'll see. Here comes Weldon. He's right behind Andretti.
No, that's Dixon.
Sorry.
That's Dixon. There's Weldon
back behind him. So he was.
Oh, look at that! They're nose to tail, and he got him going to the corner.
Yep, he's going to get around him. Yeah, that was Dixon. Those cars look so much alike without being able to see the number back there. Couldn't. Oh, that was Andretti.
Marco slides along the inside wall, bringing out the third yellow.
Well, those guys would like to have seen that a few laps ago.
There's Dad.
Didn't see what started it. He was coming out right in that pack amongst all the leaders, right in front of all the leaders, really.
So the yellow comes out on lap 136.
You can see hit both the left and right sides of the race car, so a lot of damage. Got the visor up. That's always a good sign. Taking off the steering wheel off. So didn't look like it was real hard contact, but had trouble coming off of 4 in that pack of cars.
Now I have to ask how long this yellow is this going to let him stretch out?
No, I don't think so.
No one more pit stop?
Those pit stops were made on 135. Let's see again. Now see, he's right himself. He's right in front of all the leaders, the lead pack. He just got wide. He got wide and coming off of 4.
Oh, man, that was close. That almost took Dixon out.
Man, oh, man.
I'm not sure Dixon's even caught his breath yet.
Now, that same thing, that's kind of what happened to Danica, except she got slowed way down. And that happened to Castroneves earlier, except Castroneves had it happen.
Watch how close this is.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Kanaan, he was back there. He did almost the same thing. He was way wide coming off that corner, too.
That's just the cold tires at the pit stop.
Could be. Very well could be just the cold tires. Not heated up yet, because Kanaan was way out there coming off of turn 4. He had a big understeer on his car as well.
As Weldon will be your leader on the restart, with Kanaan in second, Franchitti third, then Castroneves, then Hornish.
Well, now
they're all coming in.
Now then you see your leaders. They're going to come in. They're going to hope that they can stretch this last pit stop without another pit stop. Now they're coming in on lap 139. They'd have to. Boy, that's a lot of laps.
61 laps.
Yeah, that's a lot of laps.
It depends on how long this yellow is.
That's exactly what they're counting on. They're counting on it being a long yellow, and so they can go back.
Look at that, an adjustment on the front of Castroneves' car. That's the first one we've seen here this afternoon.
Well, and that might be the other reason he decided to come in. He didn't think the car was handling well enough and wanted to make that adjustment. He thought it was worth the risk. So get the green on lap 149. 51 green flag laps if there are no more yellows. So it'll be interesting to see. If there's another yellow, all bets are off anyway. Everybody's going to come in and top it off. But if there are no more yellows, those first two guys are definitely going to have to stop. Who knows about anybody else? They're going to have to really lean on fuel and save it with the throttle, run conservatively with the throttle. So we'll see how that goes.
Former teammates, the best of friends, Dan Weldon, Tony Kanaan.
That was Dixon and Hornish kind of racing each other in the traffic back there.
Look how high on the racetrack Castroneves was.
He was way wide back there as they were trying to get through that traffic as quickly as they can. As we talked about, a lot of cars between the first two and the rest of the field.
Well, Castroneves came in at like 8 cars, at least a lap off the pace in front of him.
And here comes Hornish as he gets around one more of the lap cars, trying to move back up there where he can get in contention. Dixon trying to follow him through, but he's a little bit too far behind. That's Rice that they're going around. Here comes Dixon to the inside. I don't think he's going to get there before he gets to 3. No, he's not.
Well, Castroneves he's got around Franchitti because Franchitti made that late pit stop. So Castroneves now is 5th. Franchitti is 6th.
Well, you can see Castroneves. He's still got a lot of lap cars in front of him to get around, and Franchitti's even further behind.
At least they got their tires warmed up before we spun somebody else out.
Here comes Hornish. He picks off another lap car. That was one of the Vision cars he just went around. It might have been Schechter.
Well, Hornish now is in 3rd position. We'll restack it for you. Weldon, then Kanaan. Kanaan about 0.6 of a second back in 2nd. Then Hornish labors about 2 seconds back. Dixon is now 4th. Then Castroneves and Franchitti is 6th. Those 6 are on the lead lap. They're working and talking to Marco, and he's rubbing his right shoulder and exercising it and limping just a bit, but that's not really unexpected to look like that.
No, that's when he got out of the car immediately after the accident. So he hit that thing pretty good. You can see he was limping a little bit. So
even though you're tight in the cockpit, you can bang your knees pretty well inside the cockpit on a lick like that.
Yeah, you know, when I said it didn't look like a huge hit, you know, still he was running very quick. When you hit, he probably hit that thing at maybe 15 Gs.
Well, he is still at the infield medical care facility. But you know, even though you're strapped in and you really don't move the upper torso, your knees inside the cockpit have some room that they can bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Or the ankles.
Kanaan and Weldon seem to be running just about the same pace right now. Kanaan is hoping that as his car comes in, as they run more laps, his car will get quicker. But Weldon made some adjustment to his car on that last pit stop, and he may have made enough adjustment to hold Kanaan off. We're just going to have to see as the race progresses.
But without a yellow, the question is, when will these guys make a pit stop?
Well, they're going to wait as far as they can towards the end of the race. They're going to
wait for that yellow. But
yeah,
if they don't get the yellow,
I'm guessing, you know, they're going to have to come in with about 10 laps to go. 10, 12 laps to go. About one lap 190.
That'll be the splash and go.
Yep, they'll have to come in. I don't think they can, you know, they're running for points as well as for the win here, so they can't take a chance on running completely out and stopping somewhere on the racetrack and finishing 15th instead of first or second.
Well, you see that gap remains steady between first and second at about 0.7 of a second. But Hornish is still back there about 2.5 seconds back, so he's not a factor right now.
Yeah, he's still got 1 or 2 cars between him and the leaders, and he wants to get up there and at least challenge them. But you see, there's still a lot of traffic. There's Patrick back there.
We'll see. Weldon stopped. In fact,
boy, she went through 3 and 4 on the outside, had to get out of the throttle. But she's brave. She's the only one I've really seen all day long trying to run through the outside on 3 and 4, and she's gotten away with it twice now.
I started to say that Weldon actually stopped 4 laps earlier than did Kanaan. So it's kind of immaterial for those two because they both have to stop.
And they were all yellow flag laps, so it doesn't really much matter. Look at the traffic there. Lap cars. And, just everybody trying to get through there. Hornish made it through. Now Danica's going to get under it. And Franchitti's kind of caught in back, and he's had more trouble getting through the traffic, those lap cars, than any of the rest of the guys so far. And he's still following Danica back there.
We've seen Danica keep it off the fence a couple of times, but between those hair-raising rides, she's had some pretty good lap times.
I think I said that was Schechter they were going around. I think maybe that's Foyt, so Schechter back there, that these guys are having trouble getting around.
Well, those vision cars are painted so much alike, it's very difficult to see and distinguish.
Right, the mirrors on Schechter's car are red, the mirrors on Foyt's car are orange, but it's hard to tell.
At speed, and we got old eyes.
Yeah,
We've got old eyes.
So, but anyway, Franchitti's around them now, and then actually Danica Patrick, who's a lap down, has pulled away from him. Once they got through that traffic, she's pulled away from Franchitti.
And Franchitti now back in the 6th position, but he's 11 seconds behind your leader.
And the two leaders still kind of maintaining that same distance, about any place from 6 to 8/10 of a second difference between the two leaders. Neither one of them seem to be able to draw away or draw closer to the other at this point in the race.
We're on lap 162.
The only thing we can look for, or Kanaan can look for, is the fact that usually after the longer his car runs, he starts getting faster and faster. We'll have to see if that holds true during this segment, or if Weldon, after he made those adjustments, has adjusted the car where it will maintain about the same speed and not slow down.
Well, once again, as you say, that gap has remained between 6 and 8/10 of a second. It's 8/10 of a second right now. Hornish has lost ground on these two. In fact, he's dropped to 3.5 seconds back in 3rd. So right now the battle is up in front, and the question is on what lap, if the yellow does not come out, on what lap would these two pit? And then can Franchitti and Castroneves stretch it out and battle for the lead? Because they're, well, let's see. Castroneves is about 2 seconds up on Franchitti.
Well, and see, that might be one of the reasons that they've fallen off the pace. They're running their cars. So look at this. Danica Patrick is going around Castroneves.
Now she's showing some muscle.
Well, and again, I think what's happening here is Castroneves, he made that late pit stop. He's got that thing on full lean.
Just conserving fuel.
They've told him to conserve fuel. So he's running slower speeds than he normally would. They know about the pace they want to run and about how much, where they have to be in order to win this race. I mean, Penske's got this thing figured out. He knows about what speed they've got to run. They know about how long it's going to take those front two guys when they make their pit stop and how much they're going to gain. So I think they're running according to a plan. Whether it'll work or not, we don't know.
Well, of course, they know that the only chance they have to win this thing is to go the distance. Hornish also may be able, we're being told now from race control, Hornish may be able to go the distance.
Well, he's hoping he can. He didn't, when he pitted, he pitted,
he's eight laps after Weldon pitted.
Right. So, and Castroneves came in maybe 6 laps later than Hornish did. So Hornish is going to be real iffy.
He's on the edge. Castroneves should be able to make it if he dials it back. Now, obviously, Weldon, there's no need for him to conserve fuel because he's going to have to make a pit stop, as is Kanaan.
And that's the reason Weldon and Kanaan are pulling away from everybody else. Everybody else realizes that they've got to save fuel, and the only way they're going to beat these guys at this point is to outsmart them with race strategy.
And conversely, Larry, the only way these two guys have a chance is to get to a big lead, come in for a stop and go, and get back out and maintain the lead. But their lead's not big enough for that right now.
No, so they've got to hope that sometime in over the next 20 laps they can gain enough time on the racetrack and get far enough ahead of these guys. And now Weldon has started to pull away from Kanaan. So these guys, we got a piece on the racetrack. So we
bring out the yellow.
have to have a yellow.
Change everything. That's off of Thomas Schechter's car, we're told.
Well, it's down on the inside of the racetrack, and they haven't thrown the yellow yet. So maybe if it doesn't get kicked up on the racetrack any further, they might.
That's Schechter's camera mount.
Yeah, and what happens is even if you don't have a camera, you've got to have that piece on the race car because of aerodynamics. They don't want any race car to have any advantage over any of the other race cars. So we only have like 5 in-car cameras, or 6, I forget exactly. But anyway, everybody else has to put that piece on there where the camera goes. And there you can see Schechter's, it's gone.
Off the top of the car.
It goes right off the top of that air intake back there. And so
it's been out there for several laps, and they've not gone yellow yet, so they may intend to keep the green out.
Unless somebody goes down there and kicks it up on the racetrack in the racing groove, evidently they're going to leave it layback down there.
Well, Hornish continues to drop back. He's over 4 seconds back now in 3rd position.
But Kanaan, look at him. He has gained, as they got through the traffic there, he gained a lot on Weldon, as Weldon had trouble with the lap traffic.
On lap 173 now. Had they gone yellow, that would have changed the entire complexion of this race.
Yeah, because everybody probably would have come in and made a pit stop and taken on fuel.
Yeah, the only chance these guys back there running 4th, 5th, and 6th would have is for this thing to go green all the way, and these guys have to make a late splash and go. Because really, nobody's had anything. After Castroneves led the first 43 laps, and then Weldon took over, no one's had a thing for Weldon or Kanaan.
No, those 2 guys have been the 2 fastest guys on the racetrack. And now that they're through the traffic, it appears that Weldon is slightly faster again than Kanaan. So, you know, Weldon, although he dominated so much in Homestead, and he's certainly quick here, but he's not dominating because Kanaan is running just about the same speed.
And of course, Weldon is going to pick up the 3 bonus points for leading the most laps. They used to give bonus points for qualifying. They did away with those, and now they give 3 bonus points for leading the most laps. And of course, Weldon picked up those bonus points at Homestead, Miami. Castroneves picked up those bonus points at St. Petersburg 3 weeks ago. And Weldon will pick them up here this afternoon at Motegi.
There's Hornish, and it doesn't appear to me that Hornish is trying to conserve fuel. I don't think he's trying to conserve fuel. He's back about 4
he's
seconds.
Almost 5 seconds behind.
Yeah, but he's still running fast. His lap speeds are not, they're about 1/10 of a second slower than Weldon and Kanaan. But if you look back a little farther at Castroneves and Franchitti, they're running 2 to 3/10 of a second slower than those guys.
Franchitti would have to go 54 laps to make it without a stop. Castroneves would have to go 56 laps. But at one time, they were within a second of each other, but now that has dropped off about 3 seconds between Castroneves, who is 5th, and Franchitti, who is 6th. In fact, now it's over 4 seconds, and Franchitti only the top 6 on the lead lap.
Yeah, those guys have pretty much given up hope of winning this race unless it's with race strategy. They're not going to win this race on speed alone. So if it's one on speed and there's a yellow flag, it's going to be one of these 2 guys we're looking at right now, either Dan Weldon or Tony Kanaan. And it certainly looks at this point that Dan Weldon is faster than anybody else and has things figured out.
We're up to lap 178 now. 22 laps to go, and pit strategy yet to play out.
We're going to know in the next 10 laps or so whether these guys are going to have to stop or not, because I don't think either one of these 2 leaders can go much past 190. That'd be 12 laps.
Well, we said initially the pit strategy would be about 50, 51 laps perhaps, but then with the yellows tossed in, he's gone 49 laps right now.
Yeah, and that's with the yellows.
Meaning Weldon.
Right, so they've, with all those yellow flag laps, they can, that's about 2 or 3 laps per every green flag lap, so they can run a few more laps, but they're going to have to come in, I think, around 185. If you got to stop, there's no sense staying out there and taking a chance. You might as well come in on 185 rather than wait till 188 or 190 and take the chance of running out of fuel.
20 laps to go.
Weldon's playing his strategy out because he's running that thing for all she's worth right now. Uh-oh, here he comes.
He's coming in. He's coming in on lap 186.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd go much past 85, 86. They could have stretched it to 188 maybe, but what was the use? Now then, here's where you lose all your time. It's not the actual pit stop. It's this very slow 60 miles an hour all the way down that front straightaway. That's what really, really cost you the time on this pit stop. He's only going to be in the pits for 3 seconds, 4 seconds. They're going to splash and go. 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds at the most.
Okay, let's see where Franchitti is. Let's see where Castroneves is.
There goes Kanaan. He lost a full lap to Kanaan. There goes Franchitti.
There goes Franchitti.
So Castroneves is in front of him. Franchitti's in front of him. He's got to have enough speed. Kanaan's going to have to come in too. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's so much faster with 12 laps to go. He can probably get back around Franchitti. But, you know, can he catch Castroneves? Oh, here comes Castroneves.
Whoa.
What is this all about?
That takes him out of the mix.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be one of the guys that would try to stretch it. Obviously, they're not getting nearly as good a fuel mileage. Oh, they're changing tires. They must have had other problems.
So this is going to be a race between Franchitti and Weldon.
Yeah, I think Weldon's got plenty enough speed to get back around Franchitti. What Franchitti's strategy is not going to work. I don't think. Weldon.
That's the only strategy he had.
Yeah, it's the only strategy he had, but I just
Where's Franchitti? And where's Weldon? That's...
Yep, there's Weldon. Who just went around Castroneves. And Kanaan's going to have to pit.
Going to have to pit. That'll give the lead to Hornish. Now will Hornish have to pit? First time today that Hornish will have led.
Yeah, I just can't see that Hornish can make it. He may, if he does, I'd be...
Well, we know Kanaan can't, and 10 laps to go.
No, Kanaan can't make it. I just don't see how Dixon or Hornish, either one, can make it either. So we'll see. But here comes Kanaan with 10 laps to go.
Well, we'll get all eyes now on Franchitti and see if Franchitti can hold off Weldon. See how wide he can make that race car.
Yeah, Kanaan's his speed just wasn't there in that last segment.
Hornish is your leader.
You know, he's just going to get a splash and go too, but yeah, he was in there for less time. He was only in there for a couple seconds, but
like you say, it's slowing down coming in, and then
yep. We'll see. Where is Weldon though, as he comes onto the middle of the straightaway, or middle of the corner, and onto the back straightaway. There's Hornish.
Hornish, the winningest driver in the IndyCar series, a 3-time champion.
Kanaan got a pretty good pit stop. He might be in pretty good shape.
Weldon has gotten around Franchitti.
Yeah, Franchitti just wasn't running fast enough in order to make that work. It didn't look like.
So once again, Hornish is your leader with 7 laps to go. Dixon is now second. Then it's Kanaan, then Weldon, then Franchitti. But will Hornish stop?
Well, Hornish and Dixon, if they can last, they're going to beat him because they're 22nd. Now here he has to come in. He's not going to make it. I didn't see any way.
That'll give the lead to Dixon.
And I don't think Dixon can make it either. He stopped the same time he did. So when they all cycle through, it's going to be back to Weldon and Kanaan.
And about a half second separating Kanaan and Weldon. Weldon now behind Kanaan.
Kanaan had a better pit stop. He took a shorter pit stop. He had almost a 2-second quicker pit stop than did Weldon. That means he took on less fuel. So the question is, did he take on enough fuel?
But he had stopped like 4 laps after Weldon on that last lap.
He's killed the engine. Must have run out of fuel before just he got in there, as he killed the engine after they put the splash in there. So that's really going to cost him big time. Yep, that was a big mistake. And here comes Dixon. There was no way he was going to make it either. Just not quite long enough. Franchitti might still make it, but.
All right, now with 5 laps to go, it's Kanaan and Weldon.
And Kanaan is not as fast.
There's Kanaan. There's your new leader. The final 5 laps of this race.
Wow. And pit strategy for him, the shorter pit stop. He short stopped, so did Weldon, but his pit stop was quicker, and because he took on less fuel, if he makes it to the end, could make all the difference in the world. And remember, he was like what, a second and a half behind when he went into.
Well, he's a second up right now, and that's a lot to make up in 4 laps.
And he was like a second and a half behind, so he made up almost 2 seconds with that pit stop.
Oh, and here comes Weldon.
Weldon is quick.
3 laps to go.
Weldon is quick. He's a lot quicker than, he was 0.2 of a second quicker than Kanaan on that last lap.
But he was 0.8 of a second back on that last lap too, so if he gains 0.2 of a second lap, yep, he's not going to be having a lap. He's going to be 1 lap short.
I was going to say, he might be 1 lap short, so we'll see. 2 laps to go.
I don't think he can do it. But then I thought Marco was going to win the 500 last year too.
This is going to be interesting because he's quicker, but is he quick enough to make up that much distance in only 2 laps?
No, a lap and a half.
It looked like it. It looked like.
No, not unless Kanaan makes a mistake.
Well, the whole key to this whole thing was the fact that.
Whoa, here he is. Here he is.
Coming off of 4, he got a great run.
But you can't run too wide through this racetrack.
He's got to be.
He's not close enough to get a run down the backstretch, I don't think, to go under him in turn 3.
I don't either. He's going to have to get a big run off of 4. No, he's not going to get him going into 3. He's going to have to get a big run here. I don't think he can do it. Not enough time.
Need an extra lap or 2.
Man, he's going to be mad at himself. He is going to be upset because Tony Kanaan wins that thing because of pit strategy and pit timing. That 2 seconds, because they took on less fuel in that last pit stop, they won the race. He owes that to the pit crew. The pit crew won that. Definitely the team strategy, the pit crew won that race for Tony Kanaan. Not that he didn't drive hard, he did a great job, but in the end, it was that last pit stop that made the difference.
There's his teammate Franchitti up to congratulate him.
That's the first Team Green win since when?
Well, we had to go back to last year.
It's been a long time.
Get my statistics out, but Kanaan, unofficially Weldon second, then Franchitti. 4th was Dixon. Hornish was 5th. 6th was Sharp. Castroneves came home 7th. Simmons, a good ride for Simmons, 8th. Schechter 9th. 10th was Rice. 11th Patrick. Manning was 12th. Foyt was 13th. Fisher 14th. Carpenter, Andretti, Mira, and Matsuura.
Well, you have to give Franchitti. They did a good job. The only way they were going to win this race was try to use that strategy. It didn't work, but he finished 3rd instead of 6th or maybe 7th, where he would have finished if he'd have gone out there and tried to race with him, because he just wasn't fast enough to race with him. Weldon doesn't look extremely unhappy right now, but he's. I can see that he's. Not as happy as he would have been if he'd have won this thing.
Well, he picked up 3 bonus points, but right now Kanaan is happy with the victory. 3 races, 3 different winners. And keep in mind, the first race was won by Ganassi, his team. Penske won the last outing, and this is Andretti Green.
Well, that's...
I asked you at the top of the show, is this their weekend?
Yeah, that's right, and I think we said that it was going to be maybe he had a best chance and Danica had a great chance. Danica didn't prove to have nearly as good a run as we thought she might, but Tony Kanaan certainly did.
You get your helmet off first.
And you can see a very happy crew. TK's smiling. He always smiles, but this is got to be pretty special for him after they've had some pretty tough luck.
There's Jack Arute with the headset on to get an interview with TK.
I gotta thank all my, my teammates, my boss. Come on. Peter Tino, that it's at home. They did a great job in the wind tunnel for us, and we turned it around. I want to say hi to my wife that she's back home in Brazil because she's pregnant, and honey, this is for us, all of us.
DK, let me go back to Miami. You told me after the Miami race that you learned a lot about perseverance during that race. You had a little bit today there. You had to be patient and you had to persevere. Did you draw upon your Homestead experience?
For sure. I guess as a Brazilian, I'm not very patient, and racing is teaching me how to be patient. And today it paid off. It was a great strategy. The car was awesome all day. We've been strong all day long. I mean, I felt bad for Mike and the boss because I think
hold on, there's somebody here that wants to congratulate you.
Thanks, brother.
Good job, brother.
Thank you. So, hey, this is for my guys in this team that work so hard. So, hopefully, this is just the beginning.
Well, of course, you saw the friendship there between Dan Wheldon and Tony Kanaan, the former teammates and best of buddies, as Wheldon comes home second. Franchitti takes third. Dixon, the only other driver on the lead lap. Look at Scott Sharp.
Yeah,
came back and finished fifth. Castroneves was sixth. Then Sam Hornish, Jeff Simmons, good ride for Jeff. Thomas Schechter and Buddy Rice rounding out the top 10. So at least a different winner and a different team that won here this afternoon. Danica Patrick back in 11th. Then Darren Manning, Foyt, Sarah Fisher, Ed Carpenter, Marco Andretti involved in a single car crash. Vito Mira and Koski Matsura involved in that single car crash on the opening lap of the event.
Yeah, we only had two cars, Andretti and Matsura. And Matsura, of course, on the very first lap of the race that had any contact with the wall. Looked like a couple of other cars had a great chance. Danica Patrick got up there one time, saved the car, and actually Castroneves got up very close to the wall, coming off four a couple times. But
the three yellows tied for the fewest number of yellows, which happened last season. We only had three. As you take a look at the point standings after three races, Wheldon gains a couple of positions with a 3-point margin over Tony Kanaan. Of course, he got the bonus points today for leading the most laps, and Scott Dixon is third. Then Castroneves, Franchitti, Hornish, Schechter, Sharp, Rice, and Vito Mira rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, the top three extremely close in the point standings after three races. I mean, you can't get much closer than that. Of course, Castroneves and Franchitti and Hornish, those guys still right in the hunt. Schechter, he's going to have to step up the pace, though, because you don't want to, after Indianapolis, if you're 100 points out, you're going to be in trouble.
More sport, news and views at skysports.com.